Hi everybody, welcome to ALM's Launchpad Webinar series for July 19th, 2016. Thank you again for joining us. I am Chris Ballon, Marketing Manager here at ALM. I am joined as always by Amalia. Amalia, say hi.
Yeah, good morning everybody. Thank you for joining us.
Fantastic. And again, as Amalia said, thank you all for joining us. We are glad you can make it here today. Today we are doing a little bit of expansion on our webinar series. We've got some new bits that we'd like to share with everybody and some new highlights. Today we will, of course, be covering our news and articles, as we typically do. We'll be going through some marketing strategy and some marketing basics as well. This section of the webinar is aimed at expanding some of your personal knowledge base, as well as going through some of the tactics that we use in regards to, in this case, on-page optimizations for your clients' sites. We also have a promotion that we'd like to spotlight today, and of course at the end of the webinar we will take all of your questions and answer them to the best of our abilities. Now, in regards to our first news items, Google has rolled out a new feature. They are now displaying estimated wait times in local results. What this means is that now, based on crowdsourced data, so data gathered from devices and people posting reviews and information themselves, Google has compiled a graph that shows you the busiest times or the least busiest times at a location for service. You can now drop down this little popular times item on local listings and find out when the best potential time to show up at a location is, or if you're looking to go in right now, whether you can expect a 10-minute wait or a 45-minute wait. It's very interesting because, as I've mentioned over the past few webinars, one of the big hurdles in online marketing is taking a digital exploration, a digital visit, and turning it into a physical conversion. This is aimed at aiding that, where people are doing their discovery digitally, so via searches or going to your site. They are still looking to convert physically. This information is very valuable in letting them know whether to do it now, whether to do it tomorrow, or whether Sunday is the best day to go in as opposed to Thursday. This, again, is very valuable or harmful information. You can potentially have somebody looking to convert today, but if they see that your client is busiest on, say, Tuesdays, like today, and they can expect a 45-minute wait, and they would rather instead convert on a Friday where they have a 10-minute wait, then, again, that's something that could potentially delay or even sway someone's decision-making process in terms of converting. So this is very interesting information to pay attention to and take a look at. Again, it is crowdsourced data that Google is pulling themselves from information that's been provided to them from devices. So this is, again, something to pay close attention to when your client does have some great local rankings that show up. Is the popular times being displayed potentially harmful for them? One of the next news items we'd like to take a look at is regarding short content versus long content. This is a debate that's been going on in optimization and search engine marketing circles for quite a while. And recently, Google's own John Mueller disclosed that short content does not hold a penalty in Google's ranking algorithm. What that means is that long-form content is not always the best form of content to look into, to invest in or optimize for. And in this regard, we're looking at long-form content being 500 plus words versus short-form content being less than 500 words. Details were provided, again, directly from John Mueller, that long-form content can sometimes be detrimental as opposed to short-form content. It depends on your audience and what they're looking for in terms of the content from your site or your client's site. If they're looking for information to be grabbed at a glance, short-form content is much better than long-form content. However, if you are doing something that requires much more explanation and much more investment, like an information article or a case study, long-form content might be the best. It's really subjective in terms of the content and the site that that content is on. The conclusion reached is that you should write for your customers. What is engaging for them? Do they want to read an 800-word essay, or do they want to be reading a 200-word blog? We can optimize either or, keyword optimizing, ensuring on-page optimization is in place. It is all beneficial. It now officially is not taking into account how many words of your content is. So if you're looking at getting content created for an SEO campaign, now you don't have to weigh back and forth. Is this better as an article or is this better as a blog? Short form blog content is just as beneficial. It really depends on that subject matter. This is something that can be discussed with your account managers. We are flexible in regards to the content that we're creating for our campaigns. Content is content. If we're recommending an article, but the subject matter that the client returns back with is better served as a blog, we'll write a blog. There really is no hard set preference on this. You might see in some of our SEO packages or ASEO packages that blogs, press releases, and articles are all included in the content that we write. If it makes more sense for the client's site to write all articles, we can write all articles. If it makes more sense for the client's site to write all blogs, we can write all blogs. Of course, we do recommend that press releases are still worked into that mix, but when it comes to the decision between blogs and articles, it really depends on the subject matter and the client site itself. Now, just a little update. I know we had covered this in one of our past webinars, but Google's display for store inventory is now live. In local results for specific locations, you can now find, as you can see in the image here on the left, the ability to search specific inventory in locations. It's just available on a limited basis right now. Google has rolled it out as a test across major retailers like Macy's, you can see here. And they're looking for the frequency people are using this. Is this something to be rolled out on a larger basis? Is this something that we're potentially going to be seeing as a best practice for e-commerce sites for new schema markup in order to say this is our inventory? This is something that we've been paying a lot of attention to, and now that it's live and now that it's in testing, we're very interested to see whether this is something that Google is going to roll out as a permanent part of local listings and whether it will trickle down to smaller locations as opposed to just larger retailers. As mentioned, this is part of that ability to turn digital visits into physical conversions. If somebody is looking for something and they see it on your site, but then they search and they find that that is not available in your location, then they aren't going to convert. Conversely, if they see it on your site and they see that it's available on your location, that could potentially speed up the conversion cycle. Converting from digital to physical near immediately. They might decide that it's there now, there's only one in stock, I'm going to convert today instead of next week. Right, so it's again potentially beneficial, potentially could carry some detriments as well. It's something to be paid attention to, and again, if this is rolled out on a larger scale, it's something that we'll update you about in our webinars. Amalia, you had a news item to touch on?
Oh, I certainly do. Actually, it's in regards to Google. Basically, they are now offering new hotel search filters which deal labels and airline price tracking. So basically, there's a new tool, and it's intended to respond to mobile travel traffic growth. So Google has said that the mobile visits to travel sites now represent 40% of total travel traffic. Responding to this shift in consumer behavior, Google is introducing a range of new mobile hotel and flight search tools. Google will now let mobile users filter hotel search results by pricing or rating. So for example, if you refer to the image provided below, you'll see that in addition, Google says that the hotel search will respond to more precise queries such as pet-friendly hotels in San Francisco under $200. So they're basically really filtering everything out and narrowing it down. So right now with mobile users, you will also see new deal labels when a room rate is shown with traditional price levels. This is similar to a feature that Google previously offered with desktop hotel search results. Basically, the company will also provide money-saving hotel tips, and they will appear to be based on travel date flexibility as well. So they may show tips to people when they could save money or find better availability by moving their dates slightly. So for example, you might see tip like, you'll see a tip that'll show, let's say perhaps save $105 if you book between Wednesday, July 13th to Friday, July 15th. So those examples will come up for sure. And finally, Google will now offer airfare price tracking. Users can now track fare changes on specific routes, airlines, and dates. So the travel searchers will then finally receive email alerts and Google Now notifications when prices are either increased or decreased. So starting now, these changes will roll out first in the US and later internationally. So I thought that was really cool to share. Yeah, so that's it. Chris,
Great.
back to you.
Thanks. It's very interesting. And if you've got any clients in the hospitality industry, perhaps resorts, hotels, even B&Bs, this seems like something that's very beneficial to them. As well, it seems like it's something that can be very beneficial to the frequent flyers among us. If you are one of those jet setters that flies within the U.S. pretty frequently, this is something that can potentially save you a few dollars as well. It's very interesting to see.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Great. Now, the next part that we wanted to dive into is, again, a little bit of an education into marketing strategy. In particular, today we'd like to get into some of our processes and some of the uses behind on-page optimization. If you've worked with us in our SEO packages previously, you'll see that on-page optimization is included in all of our packages. It is absolutely essential to SEO strategy. On-page optimizations allow search engines to make the association between a specific page and a targeted keyword. It's the road signs that tell search engines how to get to a destination URL, how to get to a landing page. Some aspects also aid in drawing users into the site or improving user experience while on site. On-site optimizations include the following basics. It includes page titles, meta descriptions, header tag optimization, internal linking, and image tag optimization. Now, on-page optimization also includes the optimization of on-page content, but that's a different beast entirely that we'll cover at a different time when we dive into content optimizations. In this case, what we're looking at are these 5 items in particular. And you can see here, this is what a typical search engine result looks like in Google. This first item here is your page title, followed by your URL, of course, and your meta descriptions with site links. Let's break this down and see what each piece of on-page optimization means and what some best practices are for optimizing these. Again, this is so that you have this in your knowledge pool, and if your client ever asks you, you're able to answer accurately as well. Now, looking at page titles, as we saw in the previous example, this is the page title for WSI World. This helps search engines know which keywords you're targeting. Your primary targeted keyword for a page in question should be included in your page title. In this case, we can see that WSI World is including digital marketing company and solutions provider. We'll take a look at what this means for the targeted term and phrase specifically for WSI World's homepage. Now, this allows for both keyword targeting and branding. Typically, best practice is that you include both your targeted key phrase and your brand name in the page title. This is, again, to ensure that somebody seeing this on a search engine results page knows what page they're heading to at a glance. They don't have to investigate the URL if it appears differently, or if your URL doesn't match with your brand name. They need to, they being a visitor, needs to ensure that they're making it to the page that they're looking for appropriately. This is visible in search engine results pages. This is very important. It's one of the reasons why we run all of our on-page optimizations past both yourselves and clients for approval first, because this is front-facing. And because this is visible in a search engine results page, it acts as a first line for search engine results page call to actions. What this means is this is the first thing that a visitor sees from a search engine results page to influence their decision to make it to a site. If you're showing up well in search engine results, but you're finding that your click-through rates aren't improving, then it's potentially a function of page titles as well as meta descriptions, which we'll look at in a second. Now, this, as another note, appears on page in your browser tab at the top of the screen. The example here is the tab in Firefox. You can see that the page title is shown truncated in the tab, but when moused over shows the full page title. So this is visible not only on the search engine results page, but also visible while you're on the page. So it's very important to ensure that this information is accurate, and it's something that you want visible. This is what's going to show up when somebody bookmarks your page as well. This will show up as the default title for the bookmark. Now, the next part of on-page optimization is your meta description. This is also shown on a search engine results page. It helps increase the association between URL and targeted keyword. By inserting your targeted keyword into your meta description, it's just another signal to send to search engines that this is the keyword that is relevant for this page. This is the keyword that we want you to point to when somebody searches this term. This is our dedicated landing page. It is visible, which means, again, it is potentially driving your call to actions on search engine results pages. Conjoined with the page title, this is your driver for getting somebody to click on your result in a search engine. Now, this serves two functions. Not only does it serve as an optimization method, but this serves as a description of the contents of your page. You should be letting people know why they should be clicking on this page and the information that they can be finding on this page. So for instance, if somebody is searching digital marketing consultants, which we can see is in the meta description for WSI World, they want to know why they should be clicking on this result as opposed to any others that are searching for this term or that show up in a search for this term. In this case, get in touch with one of your experts is their call to action. I would prefer something a little more aggressive in terms of a call to action, drive some immediates to it. But you can see that the keyword targeted phrase is in this meta description, as well as a good value proposition here. They boast the largest network of digital marketing consultants. That's your value there. Now, one thing to keep in mind with your meta descriptions, even though this is visible on your search engine results page, this is not visible while on page. So if you click through to the WSI World homepage, you don't see the meta description anymore unless you view the page source code. This is only visible to search engines and while you are on a search engine result page. Now, the next part of on-page optimization is header tag optimization. You can see that the main header tag on WSI World's homepage is WSI is your digital marketing partner, and this is tagged as an H1. There are several levels of header tags, H1 through to H6. They vary in scale, but it's important to note that they are read in emphasis from 1 through to 6, which means search engines and Google's algorithm place more emphasis on H1 tags than they do on H6 tags. These header tags are read very highly by search engines as well as on-page visitors. This is what stands out. If they're looking for information at a glance, your header tags are where they get it. Google wants to see your targeted keyword in your header tags, but your visitors want to see your header tags as something valuable to them. Again, a value proposition, a call to action, something, again, that's going to spur them to action. It's going to touch on what they're looking for on your page. It stands out as your main statement, as mentioned. This is, again, visible only while on page. This is not visible to search engine results pages. So this is something that drives somebody once they've reached your site. It drives search engines, but should also drive your visitors. Again, this is what you want to be your main headline. It's recommended that each page have H tags related to that page's content. What that means is that you don't necessarily have to force all 6 types of header tags onto each page if there's not the content to support it. An H1 is strictly necessary, but much like we discussed earlier in the webinar between short-form content and long-form content, make content and optimizations in this case that's appropriate to the amount of content and your website. Don't force 500 words of content with 6 different header tags on it if it doesn't make sense. Conversely, if it makes sense for 250 words of content to have 3 different header types to it, then by all means, that's the optimization that should be recommended and put in place. At very minimum, however, every optimized page should have an optimized H1 tag containing your targeted keyword for that page, at very minimum. Now, one of the other forms of on-page optimization is internal linking. Internal linking is used to attract both visitors and crawlers to dive deeper into your site. You can see a little snippet from inside WSI World where they show an internal link. Digital marketing consultants, as we've seen previously, is a keyword that they're targeting across their site. It's used as an internal link here. So not only does it send visitors deeper into your site, it sends crawlers deeper into your site as well, as follow-through links allow crawlers to spider through your site much faster. It's a valuable way to add keywords that you're targeting to link anchor text. As we've seen in your backlink profile and in your linking profile, search engines like to see that you're using your targeted phrase as anchor text for linking. One way to show that is to do it internally. Take a look at the content on your site and the content of your pages and the targeted phrases on the pages that you're optimizing. And if you're optimizing for a term like digital marketing consultants, ensure that it's a link. It can head to another page. It could head to the same page. I recommend that it head to another relevant page. Now, it doesn't have to be on the page that you're optimizing as well. If you're optimizing one page for digital marketing services and another for digital marketing consultants, on the digital marketing consultants page, have a link over to the digital marketing services page, and vice versa. Now, this enriches your content as well by sending visitors to other useful information pages. If somebody is viewing your services and you're mentioning your services and the services that you offer, but you don't offer details on those services, internal linking to those other pages allows somebody to essentially drill down the quality information that they're seeing. If they've landed on your services page but they want to see your SEO packages, they can click on a link that you've provided inside the content as opposed to having to look for it through a menu system. Now, a caution here is that recent updates have dictated that you not always use the exact same anchor text for your internal linking. Broaden your linked content to ensure a variety of anchor text. What this means is if you've got digital marketing consultants as your anchor text across 4 or 5 pages, the relevancy of those anchor links or that anchor text for those links is going to decrease the more commonly you use the same anchor text. What I would recommend here is that you have some that say our digital marketing consultants use and link that entire phrase. But if you're just linking digital marketing consultants over and over and over again, it's going to de-emphasize that internal linking. Now, one of the final pieces of on-page optimization that we do in all cases is image tag optimization. This is an accessibility optimization from a front-facing standpoint. What this means is if a page can't display an image, if it can't fully load or won't fully load, the text that you included in an image tag will be displayed instead. This, for our online marketing expertise standpoint, acts as an additional way to insert targeted keywords into a page's content that isn't front-facing. What this means is that these keywords that you include in your image tags are read by search engines, but not necessarily read by visitors to your site. Search engines do look for image tags when looking for full optimizations across a site, however. So it's important that all optimized pages with images have at least one of those images optimized. It is one of those checkboxes search engines need to see. Now, of course, not every page has images. We do recommend that targeted pages have images. But since not every page has images, not every page can have optimized images. In this case, you can see WSI World, for instance, optimized the logo in their header with an image tag. That ensures that regardless of the page you're on, whether there are dedicated images on that page or not, there is at least one optimized image on every page because it's visible in the header. It's present in the header. Now, this is not front-facing visible unless, as mentioned, the image can't be loaded or unless you mouse over the image itself. This is the description you can see when you mouse over the image. Okay. It is also useful for search image indexing. Image file name and image tag are pulled when providing image survey results or image search results. So if you've got a client that is very visually invested, if they have a lot of product images, if they have a lot of installation images, if they've got a lot of images that they want displayed highly and they want to appear in image search results specifically, then including images that are named appropriately and tagged appropriately is essential for optimization purposes. Okay. Now, these are the 5 points that we touch on for every page in terms of basic optimizations. As mentioned, content optimization on targeted pages is something that we also take a look at, but we take a look at it specifically when we get into content creation and content optimization. That's something that we'll dive into in another webinar, but these are our basics. So if a client ever asks you, where is the image tag visible, right? Or I don't want our brand name in the page title. You can return to them and you can say why they should have their brand name in the page title, or why they should be optimizing their images, or where their image tags are visible, or how they're visible. This allows you to check what's in place on a client site already, as well as after we've implemented our images, this is a way for you to double check as well. Right? So as long as everybody is educated about what on-page optimizations mean, not only to search engines, but to users and to ourselves, this means that we're all on the same page and we're all educated as to how to better improve these optimizations as well. Okay. Now, moving on to one of our new items for our expanded webinar is our promotion offer. Amalia, you've got a great...
Yes. Yeah. I want to sort of touch on this briefly and remind all of our ICs that we are offering our special promotion. It's limited time. It's for our 5-page templated WordPress website. It is a customizable template. It's fully responsive. Blogs included. Contact us form. Google Analytics is included, and it will be SEO friendly. Again, the price is at $6.99, and our site is ready literally within 20 days. And if you do need to add additional pricing, you can see for additional blocks of 5, to go to the next level of 10 pager, it's $8.50. If you want to go for an additional 10 pages and you want to make it a 15 pager, it's $11.50. So that being said, it's a great promotion. If you have any questions, please contact myself, Armando, or Morella. We'd be more than happy to help you.
Fantastic. Now, I can't recommend this enough for
Yes.
clients that you might be approaching that have subpar websites. This is something that is very beneficial. If you're approaching a client for potential SEO, PPC, whichever it may be, and you see that they've got an outdated website, it is much better to pitch them a development update as opposed to an SEO package on an outdated site. Their budget, their marketing budget, is much better served to update their site than it is to run an SEO campaign on a site that can't perform for them. We would much rather have a running vehicle than a vehicle that we have to push, right? A good website speaks for itself and works for itself. And if you don't have that website, or if your client doesn't have that website, then we're going to be putting gas into a car that can't run. Right? So this is a very affordable means for your client to update their site. This is great for small businesses, and again, this is great for businesses looking to update their 15-year-old website. Okay. Now, the turnaround time on this is incredibly quick, provided that we have everything that we need set up and ready to go. This is site maps, this is content, images. Provided you can give that to our development team, we've turned around these templated sites in just 3 weeks' time, which is an amazing turnaround. When you look at some other development that can take months. That's not to say that these projects can't take months if we don't have feedback from our clients, if we don't receive content for their site. Production time can be delayed, but if everything runs smoothly and our clients are very cooperative in providing us the information that we need, these can be turned around in less than a month's time, which is phenomenal. Okay, fantastic. Let's dive into some of our questions. Let's see. Does Google now consider the meta description in search ranking? The meta description has always been part of proper on-page optimization. When looking at an on-page grading score for full optimizations for a keyword, Google has always looked at whether your targeted keyword is in every area that it can be. Page titles, meta descriptions, image alt tags, header tags, and on-page content. So it's not a #1 priority that these meta descriptions be 100% optimized for your targeted keyword, but it is an on-page grading score, and that's something that search engines do look at very highly. For image optimizations, are we adding alt tags or title tags? We add alt tags. Again, these are viewed by search engines as well. It's another forum to add a targeted keyword. Should alt and title tags always match? I would recommend, yes, that they do match at very least for the targeted keyword. Any questions regarding the promotion? Again, this is a fantastic promotion that we do want you to both be aware of and to offer to your clients as well. I can't stress highly enough how essential it is for a client to have a great working site. Another question. With carousels or slideshows, does each slide have an image tag description? It depends on the carousel or slideshow. Some slideshows that are done in, say, XML formatting can't necessarily have an image tag associated with that slide. You'll note that some of the slides on your personal websites, your IC websites, and even WSI World, that rotator on the homepage does not have image tags associated with it because it cannot have image tags associated with it. It depends on the formatting and the programming of that rotator. If it's individual images added into a rotator, that works fine, but again, it depends on the coding of the site itself. Mostly it's static images, so images that are always present and always visible, that we recommend optimized as opposed to those that may rotate. Okay. Any other questions? All right, fantastic. Thank you everyone for joining us for another Launchpad webinar. We, of course, will be hosting the next one in 2 weeks' time, which means you can join us here on August 2nd for another webinar. In the coming webinar, we'll have some more details and we'll be joined by another guest speaker along with Amalia and myself. And we'll provide some more details and hopefully some more details on another great promotion for each of you. As always, if you do have any other questions, please feel free to reach out to myself or our sales team here. You can reach myself at chris@wsialm.com. We're always happy to help answer any questions that you have, and we hope to see you again in 2 weeks' time. Thank you very much, and have a great day, everyone.